How fast can you really build a business to $10,000 a month? Well, today's guest did it in just 3 months. In fact, this guest used to work for me and took everything she learned while working here, applied it to her own business, and in 3 months was able to build a $10,000 a month business. If you want to hear this story, well, keep on listening.
Hi, I'm Brandon Lucero, and you're about to experience the new way to thrive in business, entrepreneurship, and life by leaning into who you are, what you love, and standing up for what you want to create. Get ready, because this is where we go against the grain, say no to outdated society norms, and we say yes to change in order to create a happier, more fulfilled world. Welcome to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. Today, we have a returning guest, someone who's been on the podcast 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't know. It's been a while. But for anyone who's been following me or what I've done for the last 5 to 10 years, you're going to know this guest. It is none other than Miss Taylor Cooper. For those of you who don't know, back in 2018, when I was $40,000 in debt, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, had no direction, and then all of a sudden had this big idea to do the Video 4X effect, hired my first employee, who ended up being Taylor. And Taylor and I, over the next, 4 or 5 years, went from like idea to building out a multiple $1 million business with a team of employees. And so she was really with me during in the trenches from the beginning of those days. So Taylor, I'm excited to have you back on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for the intro. I know this feels so full circle. I know we've been saying that a couple times, but it does.
It's totally full circle. And I'm excited to have you back on the podcast because now you're on your own with your own business. And so, I wanted to talk about that journey and share with the audience sort of what it's like to go from employee to entrepreneur, and then talk a little bit about what you're doing today. And so like for me, it was always really funny because I remember when we were building out the Video 4X, I kept saying like, Taylor, you would be a great entrepreneur. And you're just always like, No,
that ain't me.
Not for me. What happened? Why the switch?
Yeah. Great question. So yeah, as you kind of shared, I started working with you. And before that, I was working at a startup. And I think a lot of, especially millennials, I think Gen Z, maybe it's a little bit different. Like, Brennan, you're raising a younger generation, and I think everyone's kind of thinking a bit differently. But for millennials, like it's kind of just the second you're in high school, it's you go to school to go to college. And even my high school was very like, you go to a 4-year university. Like if you're not doing that, what are you doing? And then after your 4-year education, you're going to start at corporate or a startup job. You're going to climb the ladder. Like we've kind of all heard that story. So this has just been ingrained in like my identity for a really long time. And it really didn't start to like shift. Number one, working with you just learn so much. And because I was working with you and we were helping people do this, I wasn't going off and doing it, but I got to see how we were helping other people do it. And so I'm like, this is possible. This is something people can do. But I still was like, it's not for me. It's not something that I can do. That's not my personality. I'm not an entrepreneur. Whatever weird.
What was it? What was it that made it not like, was there a certain part of entrepreneurship or owning a business where you're like, no, I don't want to do that? Or was it all of it? Or were there specific things about it?
Yeah, I think it's just the assumption that being an entrepreneur is extremely high risk. And it's something like you have to be able to take these massive risks in order to be an entrepreneur, which if you want to get to a certain point, yes, but kind of even my whole basis of my business at this point is that's not the case. That's really not the case at all. It's not as risky as I had assumed because I think my mom and my stepdad, they're entrepreneurs. They started their own business and it's a, Cornell Winery, if you're in the Agora area. And I just saw what it took. It takes so much to start a business. That's an in-person, store. But I was like, I don't think I have what it takes to do that. So that was really what was holding me back is just my own kind of inside stories.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of risk. Everything's on your shoulders. And like, you don't have the security that sometimes a paycheck at a bigger company, would be able to provide. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When you left, so you were the integrator here for a couple years, 4 or 5 years probably. And then you ended up moving on to another bigger company. So what happened from there? And then how did that lead to you eventually going like, yeah, I'm going to start my own business?
Yeah. So I moved on to this company and, kind of just like a classic startup. And it was definitely like more responsibility, more whatever it may be. But it was like, again, still in my brain is I have these stepping stones of like where I want to be in my life at a certain age, like what dreams do I want to achieve or anything of that note. So this was really like, okay, this is the next step. And, classic startup, and this is super normal, is there was a huge round of layoffs January 1st, 2024. And I was in leadership, so I really knew what was coming. I was like, I'm 99.9% sure, like I'm also going to be one of the ones that is, the roles eliminated. Like they're really downsizing. And that's perfectly fine. And that's normal. That happens. It was also a big wake up call though, where it's like you think that being an employee is more stable, but it's not, because that can happen at any point in time. You don't have control over that. Right now, if I lose a client, like it is up to me and I know how to get another one. And it's also, if you lose a client, it's not the end of your business. It's, okay, that's a spot to fill. And I am the one that has control over that. Where if you're getting laid off, it's like your benefits are gone. Your entire salary is gone. Sure, you get unemployment, but obviously like that's not a permanent fix. So that happened. I already kind of knew it was, writing was on the wall, and I started applying for jobs, which is quite a process. Anyone that's ever gone through the job application process, it's terrible. And while I was doing that, I was like, you know what, like I've always wanted to do freelancing. Let me just pick up some freelancing. And so I reached out to my community, like my instant contacts, all that, and said, hey, I can do freelance work. I am also looking for a job. Here's my resume. Here's what I'm capable of. If you know of anyone that needs help with these things, let me know. And I had some people say, here are some jobs you can apply for. And I also had some people say, oh, here's a business who just needs some marketing help. And it was an online business.
So when you say contacts, you mean just like friends and family, or
yeah, like friends, stepdad, like it was actually my stepdad.
And everyone is like, hey, this is what I'm offering. And what were you offering?
I was offering, if you know of anyone looking for people in like looking to fill a marketing leadership role, here's my resume. And at the same time, or if you just want some consulting help with marketing, I'm great at X, Y, and Z. And it was it was like to close friends and family. So it wasn't this super professional cast. And I didn't have a big net to cast. And that's kind of the other takeaway is you don't need to know a ton of people. You don't need a massive audience. I had my stepdad, gave me a connection to his men's coaching group and was like, I know they need help with marketing. So here's their contact. I reached out to them. I had a conversation with them, and it was still like the online coaching, mentorship, online course space. And I was like, I can talk about this in my sleep all day long. And so we really just had like a great conversation. It didn't feel like a sales call. It didn't feel like an interview. I was like, what are you doing for this? How's this doing? What about this? And it ended up being just, yeah, we would love to have you on, even if part-time, and just to kind of help us. And it was my first, I like made up a number too. I think it was like total to maybe $47 an hour or $45 an hour or something. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was, I just gave them a number and they said yes. And that was really cool to see. And then while that was kind of happening, they started referring me to people, and those people started referring me to people. So I hadn't created a website. I hadn't created a business. I hadn't created a social media. I hadn't done anything yet. Like I just went to my immediate network. And then I think once you get one person, you can start building it. So while this was happening, I was still interviewing for jobs. I still was not like, this is what I'm going to do full time. It's just like, here's some supplemental income, like something to do while I'm looking for the quote unquote perfect fit. And as I was going through interviews, it was very interesting to kind of like, especially in hindsight too, where I was getting clients. It was happening very easily and I was having a lot of fun doing it. And when I was interviewing, I was a ball of stress. I was not pleasant to be around before or after. It would like consume my days. Them telling me, we're going to move you forward. I was like, amazing, great. And then I was stressed about the next interview. And it was just like, this is so apparent that one is making me so happy. It's so easy for me, not like it's easy work. It's just, this is easy for me to wake up and do. And I'm glad to do it. And the other one is like, I'm anxious, like I'm stressed. And so, yeah, that's kind of where like the crossroad came, where I had a conversation with Jordan, my husband, and I was like, hey, I know I'm in these interviews. I'm not having fun doing it. And none of these jobs are exciting to me. And I'm talking to like a therapist who works with horses in therapy to help people with like PTSD or their relationships. And I get to go hang out with horse. Like one's feels more like a dream job, even though I didn't mean to make that my dream job. And the other one is like, I'm just so stressed. And so that's really where we had the conversation of like, okay, like I'm going to drop the interviews and I'm just going to do this full time, see how it goes.
Take the leap. Mm-hmm. I love it. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I think the first part that I want to dive into is the pricing. And so you started off at like $50 an hour. And I think sometimes a lot of people get so hung up on, well, what do I charge and what's the right amount and blah, 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 blah. And I just kind of feel like when you're just starting out, it's like you just more or less have to come up with something, and then you sort of figure it out as you go. And then as your roster, your book, it gets filled up, then your prices can increase, and you just kind of go from there. Has that been your experience? Because I'm assuming now you're not charging $50 an hour, but like once you got the ball rolling, and I'm also assuming that in the beginning, was it a little bit of like, let me just take on anyone and everyone for everything, and then I'm going to find my way as I do this? Or like, what did that journey sort of look like?
Yeah, those are all really good questions. And it really is one of those things where with what I said yes to, I said yes to anything that I knew I could execute on well. So like whatever your skill set is, even if it's like VA stuff and it's like, yeah, I'm really good at client facing stuff, or I'm good at, for me, it was marketing. Like I know I can help with, there's certain things that I'm like, I know I could do this in my sleep. So I would say yes to anything that I knew I could do, I could execute well on. And then in terms of pricing, I wanted to make a price where I was like, this would be worth it to me, where I'm going to, again, be excited to show up. And there has to be an exchange, like it can't be, I'm going to do this for $10 an hour type thing. But it's enough where it's like, okay, I really want to do a good job, but it's a no-brainer price for them, where I know it's like, I know I'm worth more than what I'm quoting right now. And that's just kind of how you have to initially start. And then what ended up happening is I started to figure out the things that I liked the most, the areas that I was able to make the most impact, and the things that I could systematize. Because some of it, it's like, for example, like social media posting, it's just, there's no way to like systematize that. I don't really like doing organic social media. I know that's a great market for people. For me, it was just something like, I'm not really liking how this is shaping out. So it's something I'm going to phase out, and I'm going to phase in ads because XYZ. And you can kind of start to create systems and processes. And then each call that you have, increase your price a little bit more. See what objections are coming up. And then if there's objections, how can you bake that into a contract? How can you like add that in? And how would you adjust your price on that point?
So when you say phase out stuff, like I'm assuming that means like clients and services, was it as easy as they just left, or did you have to have like these hard conversations with them and be like, I'm moving on to something else, goodbye? Yeah,
for the most part, it would be like, typically I haven't really had to do any big amount of phasing out. I am going to start narrowing down my done for you services. So I'll probably have more to say on that, because there's never been like a, hey, we need to end here. But yeah, there were some people where it was more like, I know I'm doing this, and this for you. Right now, my services are starting to adjust. I'm narrowing my scope. Here's how I can help you with this area. Here's how much it's going to cost. If you would like me to continue to do the things that I'm doing now, this is what it would now cost. If you want to discontinue, if you want to shift to the new retainer, let me know which one. Most of the time, shifting to the new retainer was the option. A lot of the times, the people who paused, it would be just like, hey, like I'm kind of readjusting what I'm doing, which we all do, right? Where it's like, I'm actually going back to the drawing board. Let me pause. And those people, maybe they never restart, but I'm like almost 100% referral based right now. So even those people who pause will still be like, hey, this person said they needed someone for ads. I know that's what you focus on now. Here's their contact.
I love it. I mean, how fast, if you're okay talking about the money part of it, how fast did you go from like, I'm all in to hitting $10,000 months?
I was hitting 10K months by month 3
That's
pretty
crazy.
consistently. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, so it literally was just like, let me reach out to people I know. Let me contact them. Let me try to sell them something. You start off at $50 an hour. Then I'm assuming the next part of that was referrals started to come in and you got a little bit more organized on what your offer was. And you sort of geared it towards a little bit more of like Facebook ads and marketing. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. And what I want everyone to know is still in month 3, month 4, no social media, no website. Like I didn't set any of that up. And I know that's one of your big pieces of advice, like if especially done for you. I know with courses, it's different, but you don't need all these things to get started.
No. I mean, I think when we first started the Video Forex, like, I don't think we even really had a website, or if we did, it didn't reference, I think it was still like soldwithvideo.com and it had like nothing to do with what we were doing really. And then I don't think it even referenced the Video Forex at all. Like, you don't need that stuff. You just need to sell. You just need to like go sell, bring in money, bring in clients, have conversations. Like a conversation with someone will outweigh having a really nice website. But I think everyone wants to get all these pieces together and they want to feel like they got their stuff together and look organized and look professional. But I mean, I think for the first year or two, we didn't have a website as we launched Video Forex. Like, I don't think that was even a thing.
No, we just had we had our one-off landing pages on Instapage. And that's I know for you and your strategy, which and I'm a big fan of, obviously, is ads. So, and I know you did have a social media account. It was still called Sold with Video. You had it's not like we were posting. It's just one of those things where kind of you're saying like, you don't need to look professional. Showing up professionally in a way that your audience needs is by having a conversation, even if that's through a video. Like, you just need to be able to articulate how you can help someone and how you can solve their problem. And you teach us all the time. And this is what I do. My sales calls never feel like sales calls. It's almost immediately to, what are your problems? Here's what I would do to fix them. And if you can just continue to create content, whether that's on a landing page, a social media post, in a live one-on-one call that articulates that, like, that's really what makes the difference between you just being like, how have I not made one sale yet, to 10K months.
Yeah. Here we are.
How nice.
So what's the plan moving forward for you? Do you have a team now? Is it still just you? Are you trying to get to like $20,000 or $30,000 months? Like, where do you want to go now?
Yeah, great question. Well, right now I am kind of more at you're at another crossroads. You talk about this all the time too. When you're in a business, there's just constant crossroads. Like, it's never just set it and forget it. It's whether I wanted to stay in agency or move to courses or whatever. Like, you're always kind of like, how am I iterating this? What's next? What do I want to spend my time on? And so for me, I do have small part-time team members who are some also OG Brandon Lucero team members. We all kind of found each other again.
So for those listening that don't know what she's talking about, a lot of the employees, not a lot, a few of the employees who came on to work with us during the Video Forex days, honestly, like the first couple of years when Taylor was there, a lot of them are gone now, through different reasons or whatever. But the thing I love about the employees that we had, and I think the, not community, what would you call it? The company, I guess, culture, was because it was so close, and we all worked in an office because it was like pre-COVID days. We all got to know each other really well, and we all really jived really well. And so a lot of those employees now help out Taylor part-time. So it's like the old Sold with Video, Brandon Lucero, Video Forex team back together, but for your business,
which is so fun. Yeah, I'm sure if you needed help, they'd be coming on back to you as well.
I love that.
So yeah, they help me with client management stuff or just course creation and all of that, because that is one of the things. You get to a certain point and it's like, I don't need to be the one pulling the daily reports. I should be the one interpreting them. I should be the one hosting the meetings and all of that. But there's just certain things that I don't need to be the one doing it. So there's that going on. And then I am starting, which this is why I was so excited to talk about this, because it's really just following your advice that you give people when you're just getting started out, is just do done for you. Do that one-on-one, because you can really refine what you want to offer. And if you're able to go that route, like I've just gotten so crystal clear on how I'm able to help people. And if I had started a course, which is what I'm doing now, if I had started that a year ago, it wouldn't be what it is now. And it would probably be a huge uphill battle to make it work. So now I'm going to start, especially in 2026, dialing back my done for you. I don't think I ever want it to go away because especially with ads, since that's really where my focus is, just staying on the pulse of everything. And it's not so much just like Facebook ads, it's how to convert cold traffic, because warm traffic and converting warm traffic is something way different. Like someone that's been following you on Instagram for 3 months, it's going to be way easier to sell. Yeah. Which you know too. So versus someone that just found you through SEO or any type of ad, or through another account or something. It's just a different kind of story that you have to tell. So I'm doing the course. I'm going to go that route. And it's going to be all about basically like how to launch with that cold traffic and with the specialization in low ticket offers, and how to just really use a low ad budget. You don't need like $5,000 to see if ads work for you. You need $500 to $1,000 to see if ads work for you. And I think that's like another thing that people don't really realize. You can get in front of a ton of people for just $500. And if you set it up right and your targeting's right, and you already have an organic following, $500 can take you such a long way and you can make it back really quickly before you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. This is worth my time. Let me like now spend the $1,000 or $5,000.
Well, let's talk about that because I think it was a social media post that you did. And you said something along the lines of like, went camping for the weekend, came back and I spent like $100 on ads, but I made like 193 back in revenue and had 6 booked clients or something like that. What did you do?
Yeah. Okay. That was so exciting because I wanted to do a test. So where I'm at right now is I'm kind of like, I'm one of the categories of my target audience where I'm in a done for you service business. And I could keep going down this road indefinitely. If I want to shift to the course business, it's a different shift. So for me, like my personal ad account in theory doesn't really have any data on it. I also don't have an email list. I have contacts for my done for you clients, but it's not even like I have 100 people on an email list. I was starting from 0. And so I was like, let me do an experiment with this. And it really does depend. And this is what I tell my clients in terms of your strategy for ads when you're just getting started out. There's a lot of different things at play. Like, do you already have a list? Do you already have a following? If you do, you should be on ads last month. If you're not, like you could knock it out of the park pretty quickly. If you don't have a list, if you don't have a following, you're starting at a different spot and that's okay. That's not bad. But then you also need to keep in mind your industry. So people who have really like niche focused industries, like I have a client where he teaches track coaches. That's pretty easy to just start a low ticket offer and see instant success.
Like high school track coaches?
High school track coaches. Yeah. And we immediately got 2x return on ad spend with a brand new account. There was no issue there. And someone with like flashcards, like it's with a niche, target audience. For me, online businesses, it's highly competitive. It's really broad and there's no specific targeting on Facebook to be like, I want to target online course creators. So you do need a bigger budget when you're starting from 0. If you're doing a low ticket offer, that's a whole conversation that I'm happy to get into after. I'll tell you what I ended up testing because low ticket offers really, really work. If you find that they're not working, what I did is I took my low ticket offer and I just made it free for the weekend. And I was like, I'm just going to make it free. And it was just basically an ads readiness guide and an SOP document. And after that, it went to a thank you page that had my 2 low ticket offer courses. And then it went to an email sequence that then talked about my low ticket offer courses. I put in a $97 consult call because with cold traffic, you don't want to do a ton of free calls unless it's a really like engaged, interested person because of the traffic quality. So I did a $97 1-hour consult call. And then there's like other ways to get to me too, but it's a little bit nuanced and it's not an easy flow. Like it was a lead magnet where you had to confirm your subscription. Then once you confirmed your subscription, you got the email for the first lead magnet. Then you had to click a button saying, yes, I want the second one right away. And it gives you that high click-through open rate, which helps your emails. Engagement, that's a whole other thing that we could talk about. But basically I did that and I set it, I turned it on, and then we went camping for the weekend. I think over the weekend, I spent $197 or something, or like below $200. And I had two $97 consults. I had 3 low ticket offer sales, and I had a discovery call for my $2,000 done for you service, just like already there.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that was immediately.
So was that add to freebie then? Is that what it was?
Add to
and then
freebie.
On the thank you page, it was the offer.
Yeah, but how I did it, and it was because it was a very quick pivot. I was like, I'm about to leave. This hasn't, and it actually, when it gets my own advice here, where I'd only spent like $100, but I'm like, my CPM is really high. It's like $100, which that's a huge limiting factor in ads. If it's super high like that, I'm like, I'm not going to get anywhere if I'm spending $30 a day. So I'm like, let me just on the offer checkout, I said free until, and then I put like October 10th or whatever the date was. So it was still a checkout page, and it was still flagging a purchase conversion, which is interesting. And since then, I ended up spending $550 on that because it was just a test. I wanted to see how much I would generate doing that. 4 $97 consult calls, a $2,000 done for you service, and 4 low ticket offer sales from that $550. So that's
great.
A great return. So I was like, okay.
Is that thing still running?
I just turned it back on last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, all that stuff is great. I mean, and I think it's very creative too. And I think what one of our philosophies here is you just never know what's going to work. You got to try a bunch of stuff. And so this idea of like making it free, I love that you made it like still a checkout. So I feel like that holds a little bit more weight than just a normal freebie. Like if someone click on something, then opt in with their email address, this is so much different where it's like an actual checkout of an actual product, but the price is just free. I think it just holds the quality is going to feel a lot higher. The seriousness from the person doing it is going to be a lot higher. So I love that. Is that what you plan on doing marketing wise from here on out? That sort of thing?
I'm sticking. So like none of my other clients, so again, like 99% of my life right now is my done for you clients. All of them are on low ticket offers in varying degrees. And I would not, and it's working. So I would not suggest doing that. Lead magnets do work. You just have to be way more intentional with it. And I just took the time to be like, I'm going to kind of make this like a little bit of a pain in the butt to get. It's not like hard to figure out. It's just, you can't just put in your name and email, and then on the thank you page, it's right there. Like there's got to be steps to make sure that quality is there. And you also need to be so confident in your messaging. Like if you are in lead gen, if you have a $1.50 cost per lead, like I'd almost say that's a red flag. My cost per lead was still $8. So it's not like I brought in this huge amount of people, but that was just like a quick test. It was really cool to see. With all of my other clients, it's low ticket, and it's anywhere between $17 to $99 for that entry point. And if you're interested in talking about that, I'm more than happy to.
I am, because what I'm curious about is like, how do you take a $17 or $97 purchase person and then move them to something else? Because that's the goal, right? Move them to higher services or offers or something like that.
Yeah, my whole thing, I think most of us, I'm assuming most people listening are going to be aware of what a low ticket offer is. And I think the biggest thing is like, we've kind of lost the plot on low ticket offers. And it's like this kind of, let's turn a freebie into getting someone to purchase. And there's a lot of things that I've been seeing online where it's like, how can we make, $50K a month from this $27 product? And if they're making $50K a month from just the $27 product alone, they're probably not that profitable. What's happening is you have something really, really high value, and it's still an experience, and it's still amazing. And it's your low ticket offer is the opportunity for your ideal customer to vet you at low risk. So you're removing the people who aren't even willing to pay $17 or $30. Because if they're not willing to do that, then they're probably not going to upsell into your like $2,000 course or your coaching or mentorship program. Like it's kind of filtering that out. But then at the same time, that offer should still be incredible. And then being like, this person is amazing. So the flow of it too is maybe it's $17 and it costs $20 to get that customer, but then you add an order bump that aligns with the low ticket offer too, where it's like, hey, I'm giving you the step-by-step format on how to launch a low ticket offer. Here's a guide on how to write copy for ads. It's, here, it's an additional $15. And then you just increased your average order value. And then after that, there's an upsell. And this upsell can be something that's anywhere between $99 to, $1,000. It's really just dependent on your funnel. And you're expecting a certain percentage of people to convert right then and there too. Maybe, again, it just depends on the prices. But that right there should, at Evergreen, with your low ticket offer as the entry point, it should be getting you, with all three of those steps, around 2x return on ad spend consistently. The second part to that is your 5x, 6x, 7x comes after the fact. That comes, now you have these really qualified people. There are the $17 customers that didn't purchase the order bump or the upsell yet. And now you can do a webinar for these people, or you can do an email series for these people. And that's how within a course of 30 days, you're able to convert at a lot higher rate. But I do think there's a little bit of a misconception there where, the $27 product is going to just take care of everything profit wise.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And so that's one of the things that we talk about a lot too, is we've been talking a lot about it with our students, where if you're taking a free person, you might be paying, let's just call it $10 a lead, to get them into a free webinar, for example, or to download your freebie. Whereas this, if you're charging $17, but it costs you, like you said, $20 to get one person to buy, it's you're out $3, which most people be like, well, why would I do that? Why would I get someone to buy something and lose money? And it's well, you're losing $10 every single time someone opts in for one of your freebies. But now this is a committed person you can build a relationship with and rapport with. But then if you start adding in upsells or order bumps, like you talked about, you could make up that $3 and possibly become profitable. So I think it's a great model because it allows for a lot of scalability. You're not going to be out a ton of money, and you can tell right off the bat whether or not it's going to work well. And then is if I'm understanding correctly, the process from there that you work with your clients is a lot of these people who are buying the low ticket stuff. You're moving them into webinars or email sequences to get them to upgrade or go up to your higher ticket stuff. Is that pretty much what you're doing?
Yeah. And so for me too, obviously my job as the media buyer is that first step is, okay, so I'll use kind of a model as an example, just so we have something to work with. So I have a client, the low ticket offer is $78 and it sells really, really well. This funnel has been at a 2x plus return on ad spend since the day we set it live. And it's basically an intro online program for fitness. I'll just kind of keep it general. And then there's an order bump to a gut health guide. That's $20. So $78 is pretty high for a low ticket offer. It's anywhere between $58 to $80 to get the customer. So our cost per acquisition still quite good. And then we have a percentage of people who take that order bump. And then after that, there's the upsell of one of her core mid-tier programs. But after that, so that's kind of where I'm at, is how do I make sure that that's really tight and strong and we're getting that 2x? So that way she can do what she's really good at, which is then marketing her $2,500, one-on-one coaching program. How people address that is very different, just because sometimes people, launch seasonally. Sometimes it's evergreen. I do think a free webinar for these people works really well because they're engaged, they're interested, they want to get to know you, especially if you have a high ticket. If you have something that's more than $2,000, getting on a webinar could be really, really good and effective because they want that FaceTime with you. Okay. So webinars aren't dead. I love them.
No, they're not. I don't think they ever will be. I mean, never say never, but they definitely work well if you know what you're doing. Okay, great. And so is that the strategy you work with most of your clients now, is running their ads, getting all that set up, designing their low ticket funnels, and then doing all that so they can sell more of their higher ticket thing? Is that primarily your bread and butter right now?
Yeah. So with clients, it's a lot of, I'll do one of the things which I learned from you is the messaging. So the two-prong answer to that is my programs and my courses are going to be teaching people how to do this on their own, because a media buyer is very expensive. Whether you work with me or you work with someone else, it's not a cheap thing to do. And you should probably be willing to spend at least $5,000 a month. Obviously, maybe you'll have lower months or higher months, where it's worth getting a media buyer. So when I'm at play, it's, we're going to be working on your messaging. Number one is I will not turn an ad live until I personally feel confident in your messaging, and I help with the copy, and I help with the creative, and I help with the ad scripts, because how ads are set up and Meta set up right now is it's copy and messaging. to create an actual campaign isn't really hard. The annoying part is if you're updating it all the time, you're launching a bunch of campaigns, which is you should delegate to a media buyer. But if you're like, I just want to test my low ticket offer and see if ads work for me, that's where you should just get a course or someone to teach you how to do it, because you need a sticky, tangible, specific low ticket offer. And then it's quite easy to just upload a very simple sales campaign for that low ticket offer. So those are kind of the two routes. Is the course is like, here's how to make sure like you can just create a low ticket offer that just like kicks butt on ads because it's tailored to cold traffic, where with a client, it's more whatever you need specifically. Like, I'm here for you and I will upload anything you need at any point in time. And I do all the reporting and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. How do you figure out what low ticket offer is going to work? Is it just guess and check? Do you have a process or things you're looking for to help figure that out? Because I mean, like I just use me as an example. There's so many low ticket things that I could do. It could be on content, it could be on ads, it could be on messaging, it could be on copy. Like there's so many. So how do you figure out like where to go with it?
Yeah, you're probably going to be like, this is exactly how I would do it too, Taylor. At least I hope. I'll know I've made it in life when you're like, I approve of this approach. So I was actually on one of the consult calls. I was working with this woman and she was wanting to do a low ticket offer. And she showed the offer to me and I was like, this is like a $500 course. This is not your low ticket offer. Like, this is your flagship program. She's like, okay, I'm glad that you said that because I feel the same way. And so when we were deciding what her low ticket offer was, number one, it has to be tied to whatever it is you're trying to upsell people to. So like, hopefully that's obvious where, you want to make sure what that's doing is maybe solving step one or a side piece of how you're going to help people with your high ticket. It has to be relevant. Number two is it really needs to meet someone where they're at right now. So it needs to trigger an impulse buy. And by doing where it's like, that is my exact problem. I want that fixed ASAP, or at least like this is like so on point enough that I'm going to buy it because the price point isn't high and I know I need this. So it needs to be tangible. It's not saying like they have to be able to hold it, but it needs to feel like something that they're like getting something. It's not a concept. It's not like, I know we always like hate on mindset, even though it's like the most important one, but obviously your low ticket offer wouldn't be mindset. It has to be like a 5-step guide to how to launch your low ticket offer in 7 days, like something very specific, tangible, and then relevant. And so kind of what we were talking about with this client is she's a therapist. And so she's like, I help women with just basically like getting back to themselves. A lot of them are in relationships that are really stressful, or they just got out of it. And, we were kind of going through that and I'm like, okay, well, let's pick one. Who are you helping the most? Someone in relationship or someone out of relationship that just got out of one? And we had decided probably it's best to help the in, because that one is going through the most turmoil in a very specific, I want this fixed now way, where someone who's out, it's not as urgent. And it's just like, it is a little bit of a different journey. And the wants are a little more unclear. Do they want to be alone for a while? Do they want to get into a relationship again? Do they want to have a phase of just like not even caring? Like, there's just so many different things to speak to, where when someone's struggling in relationship, you can get so specific with that and really go like, when you walk into the kitchen at dinner and you say to your partner, like, oh my gosh, I love this song because the song's playing, and they don't respond or say anything. And that makes you feel really stressed, or that hurts your feeling. Like, you can just get way more confident in how you speak to that person. And so you want your low ticket offer to be able to tell those types of stories with your ad copy. So when they get to the low ticket, it's like, yeah, I want this. Like you just described me perfectly.
Yeah. I think what I'm hearing you say is like, you just focus on the problem that they're dealing with right now. And you deal with the problem they're dealing with in their words, essentially, is what it comes down to. And so, and that's why I like things like mindset, like upgrade your mindset for $17. It doesn't really work because there's not a problem there. Like from our experience, and I'm hearing from you as well, is that it has to be solving a very specific problem they're going through right now. And it has to be done in a very tangible way. It's like, here's the steps in this many days, and so like, an example of mindset would be, why do they want mindset? What's going on in their life that's going to require them to need a bigger mindset? Maybe it's confidence. And it's like 3 steps to boost your confidence with women in 3 days. Like if it's for guys or something like that, in like 3 days or whatever it might be. Like you have to find those very specific problems. So yeah, that makes sense. And the thing that we've found, obviously, like, because from like a messaging perspective, is when you can get very specific on the problems, like what you're describing. Like, I love the one where it was the example you use with when you say something to your partner, they don't respond. Does it hurt your feelings? Like that specific scenario. That's what we look for, is what I call situations. Like, what are the situations they're experiencing right now that they don't want to experience anymore? That becomes like the copy, that becomes the messaging, the angles that you start to use. And I think in today's day and age, it's like whoever's going to be the most relevant to what you're dealing with on a daily basis is going to be the one who gets the business. And so it sounds like you guys are doing the exact same thing. We're very similar.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one more example that I just like wrote up in some type of social media copy, that like for specificity too is like, okay, so I use dog trainers because of my dogs. I'm like, oh, I can relate to this maybe. But it was like, okay, you're a dog trainer and, you want to do a low ticket offer and we want to get specific. Like, oh, okay, well, I specialize in leash aggression. So my titles or my hooks are going to be like how to get your dog to walk calmly, or how to get your dog to walk well on a leash is like maybe your low ticket offer, like the 7 steps or the get them to do this in 1 week or whatever. It's actually, from a cold ad standpoint, that's not specific enough, because you're going to pull in people who are, maybe they just like jump on people when they're walking. Maybe they are terrified to walk on leash and they sit down and you have to like drag them. So it's just being able to not be afraid of getting like more clear and more, specific, like with your messaging when it comes to low ticket, because with the strategy behind it, like the why behind all of the importance on Facebook ads, it's different with organic social media. You can get a little more broad because then you have like this whole almost like magazine of things people can consume. And if they're following you, they're going to see things regularly, where with an ad, they might only see you once. And what Meta is going to do, and this is the whole point, this is like the back end of low ticket offer, is the way AI is working with Meta right now is it is optimizing for the lowest cost per result all the time. That's why lead magnets can be troublesome these days, where if you do a freebie or if you do a free webinar on an ad and you get like $1 per lead, but almost no one shows up and no one buys, it's because Facebook is like, well, I don't really care if it's the right person. Like this, you weren't specific, not that Facebook is saying this to you, but like you weren't specific enough in your messaging. And I went like a tier away from your audience because it converted better and it got the lowest cost per result. So I'm going to just continue to go for those people because you want leads and I'm going to get them for you for the cheapest. So that's why low ticket is you're going for sales and it's just going to optimize. Like the more data it gets, the more it's like, I'm going to go find more and more people like this and get it at a lower and lower rate. So that's why that part's so important on ads.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, because I know a lot of people have the experience of like saying lead quality sucks. They're getting nothing but freebie seekers and all that stuff. And it is a different experience when people are actually buying something and then coming into your ecosystem. It's a lot more higher quality. Okay. So I appreciate you being here. What I want to do is give you an opportunity to let people know, like, how can they learn more about you? How can they work with you if they want to? How can they like get on a wait list if you release something soon?
Oh.
How does all that work? Where can they find you?
They can find me at Toast & Co Media. That's my Instagram handle. toastandcomedia.com is my
because she really
website.
Likes avocado toast.
I've gotten a few times people being like, what is that? And that's my dog is Toast. So like any millennial dog mom would do who is childless so far, we're going to name it after our pet dog, toastandcomedia.com. And then one thing that I'll do is, I don't know, Brandon, if it'll be in the show notes, but I'll give you access to my mini course, the low ticket offer mini course, since that's what we were talking to everyone about. And I'll just give you a discount code. Maybe it'll be like Brandon or something, but I don't know if you want to write that in the show notes. And
yeah, we can do that.
Like everything we talked
about. Send
that
to Jesse, we can get that all hooked up.
Yeah.
I'll make a note for that. So link. Yep. Okay, great. I think what we'll probably do also is we could set up, if you guys want to check that out, you can go to brandonlucero.com/Taylor. So if you go to brandonlucero.com/Taylor, we'll have a link to that with the discount. Can we use the code Brandon? Is that okay? Can we make that official?
Code Brandon's great.
with the code Brandon, and you guys can enjoy that. So Taylor, thanks again so much. It's been awesome watching you over the last year or so build your business, because it's just, I just remembered the days so clearly where you're like, it wasn't even like, no, that's not really for me. It's like, I will never be an entrepreneur.
I was so sure. Like I was like over my dead body. Like this is a shock to us all.
It was like a hard, absolutely. It wasn't even a hard no. It was like absolutely hell to the NO. I'm not doing this. And it was a lot of it was because you're like, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want people to see me, blah, 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 blah. And then here you are doing like a 45-minute podcast episode, putting yourself in ads, doing the dang thing, but you're killing it. And it's great. It's been awesome to watch you step into this role. So it's been really exciting.
Thanks.
And I appreciate your knowledge, you sharing your knowledge with us. So everyone head over to brandonlucero.com/Taylor, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out another episode of the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, go below, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you click on that bell icon and get notified every time we drop a new episode. Now, if you're looking for the show notes, we have them linked underneath this video, as well as our social media handles and some links to free training and offers that we drop from time to time to help you guys even further. So go check those out if you're interested, and thank you so much for tuning in to the New Generation Entrepreneur Podcast.